A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Matthew. When Jesus came into the district of Caesarea Philippi, he asked his disciples, "Who do people say that the Son of Man is?" And they said, "Some say John the Baptist, but others Elijah, and still others Jeremiah or one of the prophets." He said to them, "But who do you say that I am?" Simon Peter answered, "You are the Christ, the Son of the living God." And Jesus answered him, "Blessed are you, Simon, son of Jonah, for flesh and blood has not revealed this to you, but my Father in heaven. And I tell you, you are Peter, and on this rock I will build my church, and the gates of Hades will not prevail against it. I will give you the keys of the kingdom of heaven. And whatever you bind on earth will be bound in heaven, and whatever you loose on earth will be loosed in heaven." Then Jesus sternly ordered the disciples not to tell anyone that he was the Christ. The Gospel of the Lord. This passage that says, "I will give you the keys of the kingdom of heaven," is a very significant passage, because in this Jesus is passing on to Peter authority. There are many positions of authority in the world. There are presidents, there are prime ministers, there are school principals. But one of the most important, I would say, positions of authority is parents themselves. They are in a position to raise their children to be good citizens, to be good people of faith. In the church, parents are the first catechists. Oftentimes we think that it's the catechism teachers that we have that are the most significant. They are significant, but the most important catechist to our children in the faith is the parents. So that's a big role to pass on the faith, to pass on love of God, love of neighbor, love of self. Very key. So a parent's position is the most significant place of authority. And Jesus is also passing on a position of authority. Jesus is one who has authority. Now, where does Jesus' own authority come from? Does it come simply because he is Son of God and or Son of Man? Is it simply that, his position? It isn't simply the position. His position of authority, and he earns and keeps that authority not only because he is Son of God, but because he is one who practiced what he preached. What did he preach, first of all? He preached the love of the Father to the people of God. That is, anyone that he came across throughout any day. We recently heard about the Canaanite woman that he treated like a dog. We hear about him and Zacchaeus in the tree, who was a tax collector and a sinner. Didn't matter to him. We hear about Jesus and the lepers. Again, it didn't matter. He loved them. Hear what I just said? Loved them. That's where Jesus keeps his authority. Not only, as I said, did he practice God loves you, God loves you. He did practice. Not only did he talk about God loves you, God loves you, God loves you, the Father loves you, but he also practiced what he preached. He practiced compassion toward those who were sick and ailing. He practiced mercy toward those who were sinners, a woman caught in adultery. he practiced, he put his words into action, eating with sinners. So he put his words into practice, into action. That's why when people say, where did he get this authority? That's where he got it. Because he not only talked about love, but he put the words of love into action. And this is what he was passing, this authority is what Jesus was passing on to Peter. And Peter, the poor lad who kept putting his foot in his mouth, because in another place Jesus is saying, I am the Son of God, and and then Peter says, well, you are to lead us all, and Jesus says, I am to suffer and to die, and Peter says, no, this must not happen, and Jesus says, well, no, you got it wrong, get behind me, Satan. So Jesus is passing on to a humble man, a humble fisherman, the keys of authority. And this man, Peter, was one who himself loved. He was one who did indeed go about healing the sick and the dying. He was one who did indeed listen to the people, the oppressed, the ones pushed aside. That's where authority truly comes from. The care and the concern, the love that we have for one another. It says here in the song, it says here, I give you thanks, O Lord, with my whole heart. Before the angels I sing your praise. I bow down toward your holy temple and give thanks to your name for your steadfast love and your faithfulness. See, that's why we even praise and worship our God. That word worship, it makes it sound like we should all be on the floor bowing or something. No, worship is simply the highest form of love that we can give. And really, that is put there for God. We worship our God, we give thanks and we give praise with our whole heart, and we bow down toward your holy temple and give thanks to your name, because the steadfast love of God is in our lives. So that is the connection with authority. Authority because we love. We love our God and we love one another. Jesus loved the Father, he loved us so much he came into this world, died, lived, died, and rose to new life, so that we could live, die, and rise to new life. And that's what we do out of God's great love for us.